Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United versus Norwich City preview. Forget Liverpool against Man City in the Champions League or anything like that. This is where it's all about. This is what it is all about at this weekend. We'll also be talking about some transfer news. Also, we'll be talking about some news around other things as well. I'm just trying to see if my stream's actually working here. I think mine had a bit of a playback error there, so I'm just making sure it actually works. Sorry. Also, Man United potentially signing more than 4 players. Harry Kane snubbing Manchester United as well. And a variety of other things, as well as a player crisis for Ralf Rangnick. But yeah, don't forget Liverpool against Man City at the weekend. It's Man United against Norwich. That's what it's all about. FA Cup semi-finals or anything like that. Anyway, look, I'm feeling a little bit better today because I've just wound a load of Man City fans up. Basically, I said Nathan Ake was crap last night, and apparently this is not correct. So I'm feeling quite proud and humble that Man City fans are so interested in what I've got to say. It's great. So it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing. Anyway, welcome to Members Club Sinos. Lots to discuss, as well as an absolutely incredible comparison that Norwich City Football Club have done with one of our players. We'll discuss that as well. Louis, welcome to the Members Club. But before I do all of that, it is the preview, so you know what I'm going to do. The show is sponsored by Spitch. And I will just play this thing there for you so I can go through what it is all about. A fantastic little game that you can play and get involved in and win this weekend. It's a fancy football manager app that lets you build your own team to win points and take on other managers in the game. It's available on iOS and Android and is free to download in the UK. Spitch is based around weekly competition, so you don't have to worry that the season's already started. This week I'm playing around the Premier League. My knowledge of the Premier League is of course at super high, but if yours isn't, you can use the detailed in-app analytics that Spitch has got to help you pick your team. If you want to download Spitch and get yourself in with a shot of winning some awesome prizes, then scan the code with your phone that's on the screen next to me in a moment. You can get playing today. Also, make sure you join the United Stand community page on Spitch, as the person who gets the most points in the community each week will win themselves a £50 voucher to spend on anything on the United Stand store. I've also placed links in the description to download Spitch and also join our community. On this week's game, I did a lot better, scoring 4,238 points, mainly thanks to Son of Spurs being my captain. However, this was only good enough to take me to 3rd place in the United Stand Community League, which means that the £50 voucher for the merch store was won by Nick_91. Great work, and we hope you love the merchandise you get. If you want a chance to be part of the United Stand community on Spitch, then hit the link in the description and come and join us. You've got to be over 18 to play. Terms and conditions apply, but links are in the video description for you to check, or you can scan through the QR code, which is on the screen as if by magic right in front of me there. Okay, let's get on with the show. We're going to talk about Manchester United against Norwich. Of course we are. There is a bit of a player crisis to discuss, and that is to do with injuries. So links are in the video description for Spitch. I was just checking that it's there. So Manchester United have got a bit of a problem ahead of the Norwich game. They've also got a bit of a problem ahead of the Norwich game based on this. I will bring this straight in. I'm a little bit worried. I mentioned this morning on the morning show that we've got a transfer budget of around £150 million. I'm a little bit worried. Welcome to Members Club, Finn. I'm a little bit worried that we might spend that money on Grant Hanley from Norwich, because Norwich City themselves have put a little tweet out. I don't think it's gone out today, but I think it went out yesterday. How the number 5s compare after 26 games. And they've basically compared Harry Maguire, £80 million Manchester United captain, with Grant Hanley. I don't think that's even his name, is it? Is it Grant Hanley? Yes, it is Grant Hanley. They've both played 26 games. They've both got 1 goal. Grant Hanley's won 143 duels and Harry Maguire's won 116. They've both had 6 clean sheets. Passing accuracy, Harry's won that 86% to 82%. Tackles won 21 for Hanley, 17 for Harry Maguire. So basically, Harry Maguire statistically doesn't add up to a relegation centre back. Guess who cost 80 million, says Daniel. Exactly. So yeah, Theorist, welcome to the Members Club. Yeah. I mean, look, I throw it out there. It doesn't surprise me. I don't think it's something that deserves to go viral or anything like that, because I just don't think it's a surprise. Grant Hanley, his is a better centre-back than Harry Maguire this season, and he's going to get relegated. But that doesn't mean he's a bad centre-back. It just means that we paid a lot of money for Harry Maguire, didn't we? And we don't really get any value for it. Anyway, on with the show. So this is how I think we'll line up against Norwich. I want to get through the preview stuff because I want to talk about Harry Kane apparently snubbing United, the new stadium, and some interesting stuff about Enzo Fernandes of River Plate, and also a little bit about transfers and why we should be expecting 4 or 5 signings this summer. We'll get into that. I've got a bit of a tickly throat. Hanley gonna get much more action. It's silly, says Robert McCormack. No, Robert's right there. I mean, Robert always wants to defend the underdog, but having said that, Harry Maguire should have scored more goals. 100%. I agree with you on tackles. He'll be busier. I think that's one of the criticisms of Harry Maguire. Robert, he doesn't do enough. He doesn't do enough. He hangs back like he's bloody Beckenbauer. He thinks he's a bloody sweeper. I wouldn't let him sweep the roads. He's a crap sweeper. He's a 6'3", massive centre back. He should be going and winning the ball more, and he doesn't. His successful defensive actions are terrible compared to people like Varane or Lindelof. He doesn't get involved enough. Wouldn't play any of the first team apart from De Gea. Stick the under-23s on. Get more passion and talent from them, says Tired Squire. Thank you very much for the super chat. So look, this is how I predict RANGNICK will play against Norwich. De Gea in goal. I think Wan-Bissaka will keep his place. I wouldn't do that, but he did it last week, so why would he not stick with it? Telles will be at left back because Luke Shaw's out. Maguire and Lindelof, because I'm not convinced Varane will be back. On the injury front, we don't know about Varane yet. We don't know what the situation is with Raphael Varane yet, and we don't know what the situation is with McTominay and Fred either. So with Liverpool next Tuesday, I'm going to irritate everybody. I've got a really tickly cough now. I've been fine for the last hour. So I think Varane, why risk him when we've got Liverpool and Arsenal to play? If anyone's got a bit of a knock, it doesn't seem worthwhile risking them, because you would expect to beat Norwich at home and then hope you can put a stronger team out against Liverpool and Arsenal. So I think it will be Lindelof and Maguire. I think therefore Matic will play. McTominay's injured or has been injured. Fred came off. I just don't think there's any point risking them in a game like this, which means it should be Matic, Pogba and Bruno. And there I think he'll go Rashford, Ronaldo and Sancho, which, look, I would agree. Welcome to the Members Club, Marcus. I don't think I would want to pick a lot of these players after the way they played last week. I saw them all dancing about yesterday because it was Eric Bay's birthday, and I'm like, you're just a joke. I really hope, actually, this is quite a serious point. Under Ollie, it just became worse. I think it existed under Mourinho, but under Ollie it became worse. This pissing about in training and team photos and dance about this shit for the social media. Erik ten Hag's not that type of manager. He's a proper coach. He wants to win football matches. I really hope the club dampen down the social media bollocks from next season, because we want to be a serious football club. I don't want to see pissing about, because you know what? I don't find it very palatable on a Wednesday after a shit result on the Saturday, and I really hope we're just going to dig down and focus on our football, because that's certainly something I don't think Erik ten Hag should have to put up with next season. I think it's taking a piss. I think we're a joke as a football club. Yeah, I'm all for everybody having a laugh, but I think we need to. I don't mind people. I don't mind people having a laugh on a Friday afternoon if they've worked hard all week, but I don't want to see people having a laugh on a Wednesday morning after a shit result at the weekend. And I think that the club need to back Ten Hag on that. Hi Mark, random question, but were you in the show called Still Game, says Oz? No, I don't even know what Still Game is, to be honest with you on that one. Marcus, welcome to the Members Club. So, yeah, I think we've got a bit of a problem at the weekend. Potentially Varane, McTominay and Fred not playing. I mean, I really don't care about McTominay and Fred playing, to be honest with you. Varane makes us a little bit weaker. But I think that realistically, we should be winning this game with that team on screen. I think that we're in a position now where, unfortunately, there's not a lot of rotation that we can make. When I look at Norwich, they are unbeaten in their last 2 games. I know that sounds very shallow, but realistically, they are bottom of the league, and being unbeaten for 2 games isn't a bad achievement for them. They're 7 points from safety. They're the only team in the league to have not scored double figures away from home. I think they've scored 8 goals away from home. And they're just not very good. And we've had some terrible results this season, but not beating Norwich at home, the bottom team at home, the run we've been on would be a new low. I just don't see that. I think it will be a win for Manchester United. It could be 4-0, it could be 2-0, it could be 1-0, but I think we will win simply because Norwich just aren't a very good side and don't score many goals. I think they might be well organised. I certainly think our mentality will make it a closer game potentially. This is not a Manchester United at their best. They might click into gear, but it will be short term. Remember, this is not. This is a team that's very mentally weak, and what will their motivation be for the weekend? Well, even if they beat Norwich, they know they've got to go to Anfield and the Emirates, where they're going to get embarrassed. Potentially, hopefully not, but potentially. So it's not like they're going into a good run of games now where they can start flexing and get their phones out and start going in their drafts for winning team and all that bullshit. They may get a good result on Saturday, but then they're going into 2 of their most difficult games of the season. Arsenal away and Liverpool away in any season are very challenging. So it's going to be very interesting what the mindset of these players are, because I think we saw against Leicester and against Everton, their mindset was shocking. And you never know with these players. Will they just go, "Oh, it's Norwich, let's bounce back on this one," and then hide against Liverpool? I don't know, but I think we will find a way to win. How we'll do it and how we'll play, I don't know. Off topic maybe, but your thoughts on Danjuma? He's a creative winger with potential as a striker, or is he too expensive? Love the show. Feel well, says Bjorn. Yeah, I mean, I like Danjuma. I'm going to talk about some transfers in a minute. Mr. B says, are we officially out of the top 4 race? Well, look, I don't think we're officially out of anything. I think that's too silly, considering I've said Spurs were out of the top 4 race a month ago. We are currently in 7th place, and we are 6 points off Spurs, who are in 4th place. I think 6 points is a lot for us, because I think if we were 6 points off Spurs and we didn't have Liverpool and Arsenal to play, and we were playing half decent, I'd say there's a chance. The reality is, I think we're more than 6 points off Spurs, because we're going to lose to Liverpool, and we could lose very badly to Liverpool. I'm very, very concerned about that game. I just don't see how we get a result out of that. I mean, it is a massive game, and you just hope in the structure of a massive game we might produce something that's out of the ordinary, but I do worry about that. So I don't think we're in a top 4 race personally, but I don't think I have the power to officially say that we're out the top 4 race, if you know what I mean. So I think we'll beat Norwich. I don't think RANGNICK has got a lot of choice for rotation, by the way. I personally don't really think Pogba should start. The last thing I want to see is Paul Pogba turning it on and people giving him a contract. I think it's time for him to go. Same with Lingard. I mean, what's the point? I mean, it terrifies me that Lingard might play and score a couple of goals and we'll give him a contract. Like, I just want these players out. Not because I dislike them, but it's a new start, and nothing terrifies me more than, oh, he's played well at the end of the season, give Lingard a contract, or give Pogba a contract, or give Cavani a contract. Like, I don't. Just move them on. Move them on. Let's get to the new journey. Yeah, Rashford's been poor this season, but he will be here next year. Sancho will be here next year. Ronaldo will be here next year. Bruno will be here next year. But yeah, Dean Smith did beat us with Villa at Old Trafford this season, says Sammy. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility for Norwich to get a result. I'm just saying, we are Manchester United at Old Trafford against the bottom team in the league after 2 shit results. And we're about to play 2 very hard games. I mean, literally, if we don't beat Norwich, I don't know where our next win's coming from. If we can't beat Norwich at home, when will we win again? We've got Liverpool and Arsenal away, Brentford at home, Brighton away, Chelsea at home, Palace away. Like, where's the next win coming from if we don't beat Norwich? I don't want to build this game up because it really is embarrassing to build it up, but we have to win this game. Rest Up, Build Up says, I fear they will always mess around and take daft pictures in training now to sell training tops. Exactly. And the club needs to cut back on it. What if Ten Hag wants Pogba, Mark, says Kush? You raise a good point. I mean, it's a rarity, but you have. I'm joking. No, I mean, look, you raise a good point. I'm not going to knock a good point down. I mean, what if Erik ten Hag says, I really want Paul Pogba to stay at the club? I don't know whether he said that. He doesn't know the last 6 years. I mean, realistically, coming into a job that's going to be difficult, do you want Pogba to stay or go? You're probably going to say stay. It's a bit like saying, you know, you're hungry. Do you want this lasagna or do you want nothing? Oh, I'll have the lasagna, thanks. So I think that maybe Ten Hag does want him to stay, but I don't think Pogba wants to stay. I suppose that's what I would say. Just very quickly as well, just before we go on into some other bits I wanted to talk about. Just come out from the Telegraph that Manchester United are going to, or have consulted, the people who built the Tottenham Stadium to work on the project of Old Trafford. So this is good news. This is good news, and we are getting little bits of good news at the moment. And don't knock it. I mean, people will start going, look, the problems are still there. There's big problems, but just little ticks in a box and move forward. It is what we want. We've got Erik ten Hag. I always feared it would be Pochettino. I think many other people did as well. We've got Erik ten Hag. There's been talk about renovating the stadium for a long time, and it's like, they won't do it. Well, we're now actually doing something about it. And my ideal is that we keep the 3 stadiums as they are, and the stadium with the dugout in, where the railway station is, that's the one that gets built up, and hopefully that will happen. I'd look forward to that happening. So things are moving forward on that, and as long as they're not going to knock Old Trafford down, then that's all I'm bothered about that. So we are moving forward, and some positivity there. But like Dinky says, until I see construction going in, it could just be positive spin. So there you go. Gary Neville wished it was Pochettino, says Over. Has he actually come out and said anything this week? I don't think he has. I think he would. I think he's got, say what you like about Gary, but I think he's got the best interests of the club at heart, and I think he will, as a man of the people, and potentially an MP himself, I think he will respect democracy and respect the fact that this fan base chose Ten Hag. So I don't think Gary will be saying anything negative about it anymore, to be honest with you. Fraser says, I'm quite excited to see Ten Hag manager. Yes. Mark, why not Delo? Because that's my predicted lineup. That's not my lineup. You make a good point there, Dylan. This is the team I think RANGNICK will pick. I think he'll pick this team because Varane, McTominay and Fred aren't worth risking when we've got to play midweek next week against Liverpool. And I think Wan-Bissaka he picked against Everton. Why did he pick Wan-Bissaka against Everton? Because he was scared of Richarlison. Well, maybe he'll go with Delo because he's not scared of Norwich, but personally I think he'll probably just stick with Wan-Bissaka. I would go with Delo. I would go with I would probably go with the same team there, to be honest. I don't know whether it's worth bringing Elanga in for Rashford. I probably just would make one change, yeah. I mean, realistically, it's not an easy job for RANGNICK now, is it? Do you think a lot of this news about Stadium Ten Hag confirmed is because the events taking place this weekend at the game are the club briefed, says Arjun. I presume you're talking in relation to the events this weekend. I don't really know what you're talking about, mate, because to be honest with you, I've heard a lot of things about walking to the game and not going into the game until the first few minutes, but not really had any information about it, not been contacted about it. A year ago, when the protests happened ahead of the Liverpool game, there was a lot of organisations that contacted us and other outlets, and financially we supported it as well, and it was well organised, and I'm fully aware of it. I can't talk about something I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether it's elitist or what's going on, or only real fans are going to be part of it. I don't know. I've got no idea what's going on Saturday, so I can't really comment on that, Arjun, apart from the fact that it's a shame, because whatever is going on, as was shown a year ago, when you actually treat every fan as a fan, you can make big things happen. But I genuinely don't really know what's going on with this. All I know is some of the people that shout about it have been quite horrible towards me and fan channels. So I don't really know. I heard you on Talk Shit. I'm surprised that you let you on after your negativity towards the show. However, you made very good points on there, says Nick Warren. Yeah, I think people have a problem with me going on Talk Sport. I mean, I've always said that there's a lot of crap on there, but surely, with like most things on life, if you're offered to go on there and they know what my opinions are, then, you know, now maybe it's talk sense now when I'm on there. You know, ultimately you can only change things by influencing it, can't you? So yes, let's talk about what was I going to talk about next? Yeah, so I just changed the low in that team. Next thing I want to talk about is, I don't know whether anybody saw it, there was Manchester Evening News Q&A today talking about transfers, and one thing I took from it was that, no, actually I don't want to talk about that, I want to talk about something else first. We've been linked to this Enzo Fernandes from River Plate. I don't know whether anybody knows anything about him or have seen it. Now, a few of you have been messaging me privately and tagging me into stuff. Why don't you mention Enzo Fernandes on the morning show, Mark? Oh, he's going to solve our CDM problems. He'd be brilliant. Now, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Arjan's on again. Are the owners worried? So they released this news. Mate, look, to be honest with you, I'm very positive about Erik ten Hag, and I'm in a positive state at the moment. On a personal note, I'm not angry or frustrated with anybody at Manchester United any different than I have been for 16 years. The only people I'm really frustrated with at Manchester United at the moment are the players. The players are the ones that have pissed me off this year. The bigger problem with dividends and ground restructure and decision making, well, that's been going on for 9 years. It's been going on for 16 years. So. But right here, right now, I actually feel quite positive about United. I think we've appointed a manager that we never would have appointed under Ed Woodward. And I think, you know, the rebuilding of the football ground is a positive as well. So I apologise if I don't feel ridiculously negative around the club at the moment. As I said last night, I'm fully aware that people will slag me off no matter what I do. So I'm not really bothered. But I constantly get told, oh, you're always negative, you're always negative. I actually feel quite positive about United at the moment, and I'll get slagged off for that now. So you can't win. You just got to be true to yourself. And I feel quite positive around United at the moment. I really believe that with Erik ten Hag, we've got to monitor it and analyse it and microscope it. But if they give him what he needs, I think we're finally moving in the right direction. Yeah, 7 or 8 years too late, but I think we are moving in the right direction. And I do feel positive about Erik ten Hag, so I would agree with the people in the chat there. Back to Enzo Fernandes. So a few people have said, why have you not been talking about Enzo Fernandes? Well, I'm talking about Enzo Fernandes now, aren't I? And Enzo Fernandes is a 21-year-old centre defensive midfielder elect who plays for River Plate in Argentina. United have been linked to him. I think Real Madrid have been linked to him. And some people have got very excited about him in our online football support. I will hold my hands up and say, I know next to nothing about River Plate Football Club, other than I think their manager's very good. I think he was even linked as we should go and get him as our manager. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, he's probably shit, because there are plenty of examples of players that have come over from the Argentinian or the Brazilian league and been world beaters. And maybe Enzo Fernandes has the capability to do that. The reason I've not spoken about it is because in the world of, well, Christmas. Hit the Christmas music. It's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid. In the world of Christmas, we had for 2 weeks Alvarez. And at the end of the day, sorry about that. And in the world of Alvarez, Pogba is still in the most assists in the Premier League this season. Rashi's in a bad season, as good as English bias for Pogba says back. Okay. In relation to Alvarez, we got semi-excited that United wanted him and he went to Man City. So my issue with Enzo Fernandes is maybe he'd be a really good signing. Maybe he would. But I don't believe we're looking at him, because when are Man United ever looking at South American players? We just never seem to be looking at players that we're supposedly linked to. So I just don't believe we're in for him, basically. And that's it. Simple as that. That Casido's started doing all right for Brighton as well, hasn't he? Remember we were linked to him? That was that. I thought that the other day actually. So yeah, let me go back to what I was going to talk about. So in the Manchester Evening News, I think it was Luckhurst was talking about. He's doing a bit of a Q&A, and they were talking about how many players do you think Manchester United will sign this summer. And I thought he made a good point, which isn't always a given with Luckhurst, but he made a good point that realistically United should be looking at more than 3 signings this summer. They normally make 3 signings every summer, and this summer they're going to lose a lot of players. Now, the video we did, was it yesterday afternoon or the afternoon before, talking about who's going to go this summer? I think it's reasonable to think that United will lose 9, up to 9 first-team players, squad players. Maybe double figures. If you're going to lose 9 players from your first-team squad, you can't just sign 3. You need to sign 5. And then you need to bring 4 young players in who become first-team squad players as well. Now, if we're not in Europe at all, maybe not, but we do need to be in Europe. So I think there is encouragement that United are on the verge of a real big summer, a big summer. And we have had big summers in the past. I remember Van Gaal had one really big one. Where we got rid of a lot of players. Remember that summer where it makes me cry now. I think we let Hernandez, Johnny Evans, Robin van Persie, Nani, and somebody else, and we let them go for less than 20 million. It was definitely Johnny Evans, who was about 26, 27. Nani, who was in his late 20s. Van Persie was probably in his early 30s. Hernandez was in his late 20s. And we let them go for under 20 million. But that was a summer where we did get rid of a few players. Andy Bruno, are you any better health-wise? I'm getting there. It's dips. Kagawa was the other one as well, I think, yeah. Or was it Welbeck? Maybe it was Welbeck. Maybe it was Raphael. I mean, there's a few more there. Yeah, I'm getting better, Andy and Bruno, but it's peaks and troughs. You think you're better, and then like last night I woke up I thought I'd been asleep for about 8 hours. I'd been asleep for 50 minutes, and I woke up and I was drenched. And I hadn't pissed myself. It didn't smell. It was just pure sweat. So yeah, it's up and down, up and down. So yeah, I do think that one, in the spirit of a proper rebuild, we do need to sign 5 players. We need half a team in season 1, and we also need to remove a lot of players. And that sort of goes hand in hand anyway, because there's so many players that are going to leave. The interesting thing is, I think we go into loads and loads of pre-season. We go into loads of summer transfer windows. We need to sell 5 and buy 5. How many times have we done that on the United stand at the end of the season? We've got to sell 5 players and we've got to buy, and we never do. And the reason we never do it is because when United are in control of those situations, they just don't do it. And what I mean by that is that we've always needed to sell at least 5 players every summer for the last 6, and we never do it. And the reason we don't do it is because selling a player under contract involves work and losing money, so they won't do it. The difference this summer is we've got 5 or 6 players that are out of contract, so we've got no control. They're just going to walk out the door. And then we've got 3 or 4 players who are under contract who are absolutely determined to get out of the club and cannot be conned. Eric Bailly, Dean Henderson, Anthony Martial. So we will lose 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10, 11 players this summer that the club can't control. And when you do lose that amount of players, you've got to replace them. So yeah, it will be a very interesting summer. And I wanted to bring that in because I definitely agree with that. And then you've got the Mirror saying that this is funny. Harry Kane will snub a move to Manchester United this summer. Not because we're shit. Not because Spurs will be in the Champions League and we might be in the Conference League. Not because he feels that things are looking good under Conte at Spurs and they've got a very attacking side. No, not all those legitimate reasons why he might snub a move to Old Trafford. Harry Kane, according to the Mirror, will snub a move to Manchester United because Manchester United didn't appoint Pochettino as their coach. Good. You can take your Harry Kane and you can shove it. I mean, look, Harry Kane's a fantastic striker, but God, if it was Kane only comes if we get Poch, I'm bloody glad we didn't get Pochettino. So that raised a bit of a smile. I was quite was quite happy about that. Harry Kane doesn't want to come to United because we didn't get Pochettino. I mean, what was he thinking we were trying to do? Man United was going to become a crap Aldi Spurs tribute band. I mean, I just it's a bonus, as Pacey says. It's a complete and utter bonus. Yeah, definitely don't want Pochettino, Harry. So oh no, have you read the news? Oh, I'm Harry Kane. I was going to join Manchester United, but you can swivel on it. Because now I'm staying at Spurs, and do you want to know why? Because you didn't get Pochettino. You're the losers, United fans. I'm the winner. Well, we're really upset about that as a fan base. God, I wish we'd got Pochettino now. We were that close to getting Harry Kane, and if only we'd got Pochettino. Sunshine, Gary Nev, I'm fuming. Jamie, I'm fucking fuming. Get Phil on phone. I'm fuming, man. I'm fuming. We could have had Harry Kane and Pochettino. I'd have been the assistant. I'd have made the oranges. I can't believe it, man. You're mad. I was mad for it. But I can't do Gary Neville, by the way. That's just something. Yeah, Gary won't be happy when he hears that. It's about the players, Gary. It's about the structure. Ten Hag, you might be onto something there. Yeah, I mean, look, I actually think there will be some of our ex-players fuming. We could have had Harry Kane and Pochettino. It would have been the dream team. But no, I'm very happy that we've not. I'm happy that we've not done that. Maybe Pochettino will end up back at Spurs. That might happen. That might happen. Do you think the board will have patience to see the rebuild through, even when the pundits start turning on Ten Hag? Says Stephen. The fans will drive the patience. They will. It'll be the fans that drive the patience. So, that's the truth. It will be us that drive it. If you could sit down with any media outlets or any club communications expert or any ex-player or any agent, and we sat in a room honestly and said, can we get Erik Ten Hag the sack? And I would put my hand up and I would say, take all your bullshit, put it in a bag, because you got it all by cheating. It's a very good film, The Damned United, and it's got Brian Clough in it. It's a very good film. But the reality is, I have probably had too much paracetamol. No, I haven't really. Just 2 every 4 hours. The reality is that people talk about patience, and they talk about players, and they talk about managers, and they say, will the media or the ex-players force the manager out? And the answer is no. They will not be able to do it, because if next season, imagine the start to next season, right? Ten Hag gets a few players in. We start the season off, first 5 games, we draw 2, win 1, lose 2. So we've taken 5 points from our first 5 games, and we're sort of mid to lower part of the table, yeah? Oh, they should have gone for Poch, I'm telling you. Sunshine, Gary Neville. What do you think, Gary? Sunshine, Gary Neville. I'm telling you, we should have gone with Poch. It could have been Harry Kane could have scored 20 goals by now, and they'd have 18 points, and they'd be top of the league. Well, Gary, that's a good point, but you can only take 15 points from 5. I'm telling you, they'd have 18. Piss off. But the reality is that Gary Neville or Rio Ferdinand or Paul Scholes or The Athletic or James Ducker or Manchester Evening News, doesn't matter what they write and it doesn't matter what they say, they cannot force a manager out unless fans go, I agree with what he's just said on Sky. I agree what that article is. They're right. He's not good enough. Ten Hag out. That's when it influences. I think our fan base is locked into the right mentality at the moment. I don't think this fan base is going to turn on Erik Ten Hag before Christmas. I don't think it will turn on. I mean, it's hard to say it won't turn on him in the first season because it's a long season. I mean, you think about this season. This has been a long season. I mean, Ollie feels like years ago. It was still the manager in November. So it's been a long season. I think it's very hard to say fans will give Ten Hag a whole year, a whole season. Maybe they won't, but I certainly think he'll get till Christmas, and he may well get longer than that. The club will give him longer than that, but I mean, you know, I know fans that were Mourinho out a year before he lost the job. I certainly remember under Van Gaal, it was 7 months before he lost his job and the fan base had turned. So I don't see the fan base turning on Erik ten Hag, but I certainly think he will get the patience he's needed, because I think there's so much positivity around him, and also fans' eyes are wide open to the players. Like, if we get bad results next season, look at what's happened with RANGNICK. RANGNICK has had bad results and yet has still retained the support of the fan base. And I think that's probably the best example, really, that look at what's happened with RANGNICK. Imagine what's going to happen with Ten Hag. RANGNICK has retained the support of the fan base despite some shit results and some shit football. And he has been responsible for that. He's made some bad decisions, but I and many others have stuck with him because we realise the real problem's the players. Well, that's going to be amplified next season, because we'll have a permanent manager with a long-term vision and a very identifiable, enjoying style of football. If we get bad results early on, you can guarantee people are going to go, well, this is the problem, it's the players. So I think it would be ill-advised for any media outlet or player or any media outlet or ex-player early doors to try and turn this fan base against the manager. I think it will backfire badly, because that's not going to happen, and you would be exposed for trying to do that. So I'm not worried about that. Is the rumour right that Erik ten Hag is bringing his assistant from Ajax with him, says Andy and Bruno? I mean, there's a lot of talk, not my choice, but I hope ten Hag succeeds, says Kush. Thanks, Kush. There's a lot of talk about the assistant coach, and I'll go back to what somebody was saying last night on the That's Football watch-along for the Man City game. Any other club appoints a manager, and then you start talking about signings. No one really talks about who the assistant coach is going to be, but United fans do. And I'm like, yeah, I think we're probably making a little bit too much about it, really. I don't really remember when Klopp got the job, or Pep got the job, or Conte got the job, that people were going on and on about who his assistant coach was going to be. But we do. I don't really think it's that deep. As long as it's not Gary Neville, we're all right. I'm joking. Gary's had a bit of a... I like Gary Neville, by the way. I don't know whether it comes across, but I do. It is just banter. But no, I don't think that... I'm not really that bothered about who the assistant coach is going to be. I think we get too deep on it. As long as he brings his own coaches with him and it's his own choices, that's all that matters. Who it is doesn't really matter. I'd like him to bring the guy from Ajax with him, because they've worked together, and I think the more familiarity and the better chance of it working out. But I must admit, I'm not massively bothered about, oh, United's new assistant coach revealed. Bloody hell, stop the dinner. I'm getting out of the bath. We're going live. I'm not bothered, really. I'm not that bothered. For me, the win was Erik ten Hag. Pogba needs to leave first, says Lewis Atkinson. Who would be my top 3 players that I would sell if I could do? Well, Man United's admin on Twitter first. I'm joking. With no. Well, no, I can't answer that, because I'm going to sell people that aren't going to be sold, and that's not really constructive. So I would say that I wouldn't give a top 3. We need to get rid of about 10 players this summer. Dean Henderson's got to go. There's no point keeping him. Eric Bay's got to go. There's no point keeping him. And I don't dislike those players. I just think their future is... Just don't hang around at the club anymore. Like, just go. I think Martial needs to go as well. I don't want to keep players that are, well, I'll give it one more chance, but I've not been happy. Well, you're not going to be happy, are you? Like, just get rid of them. Just get rid of the uncertainty. I think that's really important. Are you doing Twitch today? I'm not quite right. I'll be back on Twitch tomorrow. I'm not quite right, and I actually need to take some pills because my head's hurting. What I have got, if you saw it on Twitter, is about 4 o'clock. There's a video going up on my YouTube channel, Mark Goldbridge. It's a bit of fun. It's Goldbridge versus Sean Dyche, Hell in a Cell. If you've not seen it, the clip's on Twitter. It's good. Mark, what do you think Ten Hag thinks about United giving Bruno a new contract? I'm sure he's very happy about it, Thomas. Again, you're inheriting a player that's very good, aren't you? Can I just say as well, thank you to all our members who've actually watched the Maguire versus Timber video and left your comments in. It's really useful. And the Rashford and Anthony one. If you are a member, you might not be aware. If you go to the homepage, you'll see some videos that are just marked for the members. It's exclusive content for you, but watching it is really appreciated, and the feedback as well. Dino needs to come home to Sheffield, says Gabe. If you want to be a member, by the way, click the join button. And but thank you very much to the members who support the channel. What do you think of Pau Torres, says Mustafa. I think he's a good player. I am gonna do a bonus members video about Nunez. I need to get that done over the weekend. I do like Pau Torres, but I don't think United will go for him. I always wanted Varane. I'd like Varane and Pau Torres. I'm worried about... Look, I wouldn't say I'm massively worried, because I think we're going to go through such a transitional summer that you can probably absorb problems. Varane is a potential problem, because I've got no official information on this, but I just fear he has got a problem with his knee or ankle that's not going to get any better, and therefore next season... How many games has he missed this season as a percentage? 20%? 30%? Next season that could be 30-40%, and I just think it's going to get worse. I think we might have done a bad deal there, to be honest with you. Do you think we need a new fullback in the summer, says Nexil? Yes, I would buy a right back, and there are some good right backs available, but I don't know whether Man United are going to do it. I really don't know. Milinkovic-Savic is a load of crap, Logan. This is a player that we're being linked to because Mourinho wanted to buy him 6 years ago. We are not looking at Milinkovic-Savic, and it would make no sense unless Erik ten Hag has said get Milinkovic-Savic, but which he hasn't, because we've been linked to Milinkovic-Savic for the last 2 months, and it makes no sense because he's not a player that RANGNICK wants. He's not a player that Ollie wanted, and Erik ten Hag wouldn't have been able to tell them 2 months ago. So it's just the Italian, and it always comes from the Italian press. And the reason it comes from the Italian press is because they know we wanted him when Mourinho was here. But there's nothing in the Milinkovic-Savic rumours. And I'll be honest with you, I really liked the idea of Milinkovic-Savic 5 or 6 years ago. I really liked the idea of Perisic 5 or 6 years ago. And I think if we'd have got those two players, we might be on a different path under Jose Mourinho. I mean, I've said this many a time. The summer that we were meant to get Perisic pisses me off, because we basically could have done that Perisic deal when he was 27. I think it was 27 or 28. And Perisic is still playing at a decent level now. And he's a wide player who can put a cross in. And we've never really had that. And Mourinho was desperate for him. And United bid 40. And Inter wanted 45. And we walked away. And Mourinho was desperate for Perisic, and United walked away. They wouldn't go 5 million more. And I always think, if we'd have got... I remember saying at the time, people, I don't want Perisic. I was like, he will win you over and he will work. And the club walked away. They wouldn't go an extra 5 million. And I think he would have been a really good player for us. And we might have been on a different path. I'm sure United can do a deal for Basuma and Lamptey, says Mikael Roach. I'm sure they can, but I don't know whether they will. That's one of my controversial takes, that is. Ben says, can you stop moaning? You see, I can't win. I'll always get moaned at, even if I'm positive. But look, that's why, to end it on a positive, that's why it's really important that if Erik ten Hag wants players, they get them. Because over the last 9 years, we've had players, even Ollie didn't want Van der Beek, and never used him when he did get him. You've got to give the manager what they want. That's what you've got to do. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please smash a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe. If you want to become a member, click the join button. Most importantly of all, Spitch. Remember to hold your phone up and scan the QR code and play that this weekend. Got some fantastic prizes up for grabs. Also, make sure you play in the United Stand community as well. The links are in the video description, because you can win prizes through Spitch the normal way by picking your team and accumulating your points. But you can also win a £50 voucher if you win in the United Stand community game as well. So make sure you play both. You must be over 18 to play, but it is free to play. Pick your team. It doesn't matter. The points don't accumulate. So each weekend is a new game. So pick your teams for this weekend, however many points you get. and then it starts again the week after. So check it out. Thank you very much to Spitch. It's a good bit of fun. See if you can beat me. I did well last week, but I still came third. I'll win this weekend. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all in a bit.